What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. More news involving Valorant coming to console has risen recently, and it basically confirms that we'll be getting a console version of Valorant sometime in early 2024 for testing purposes. Now, I know I've made a handful of videos in the past talking about a console port of Valorant coming soon, and while it might seem like I'm just milking the topic at this point, the reason why I'm making these videos is because I'm both excited and concerned about this release. I'm not one of those people that wants to gatekeep games to a platform. I want my favorite games to be experienced by as many people as possible, but Valorant comes with its own issues that most games don't have to face. So let me explain what those issues are for those new to what's going on, along with solutions that could at least reduce them. The first concern is crossplay. This is the most talked about concern. In this day and age, every other multiplayer title wants some form of crossplay with other platforms thanks to Fortnite and Warzone. One thing that conflicts with this idea is competitive integrity. Because of this, not everyone is a big fan of Valorant getting crossplay, especially between consoles and PCs, as Valorant is a special kind of game. The shooting mechanics heavily favor pinpoint accuracy, and you're just not going to get that from a joystick. Every gun in Valorant has the potential to one-shot headshot a player, meaning for the most part, it's a point-and-click kind of game. You can practice the abilities as much as you want, but if you can't click heads, you're pretty much useless. Controllers are very limited to camera movements due to the limitations of a joystick. You could be accurate with a controller, but it's going to be much harder to do so. The best solution is to give console players keyboard and mouse support, but this creates a population divide since controller players wouldn't want to play against keyboard and mouse players regardless of platform. So what I would suggest is crossplay with strict input-based matchmaking. What this means is that crossplay between all platforms including PC is possible, but your lobbies will be paired based on peripheral. So controller players will only be paired with controller players and keyboard and mouse players will only be paired with keyboard and mouse players. This maintains the competitive integrity of the game while letting players play together without one of them having to drop half a grand on a box. You still might have to drop some cash on peripherals, but these days you can find properly functioning peripherals that are more than enough for competitive play for really cheap prices. Performance shouldn't be that big of an issue either, as pretty much all the next-gen consoles are more than capable of running Valorant at 120 FPS, which is pretty good and enough for a proper competitive experience even against those with a higher frame rate. I play at 144 Hz and play just fine against Immortals, so if I could do it, so can the next-gen console users. And if you're worried about cheaters, Vanguard has Valorant. Shit. I fucking did it again. Valorant has Vanguard, arguably the strongest and most effective anti-cheat the gaming industry has ever seen. I don't know if controllers should get aim assist, but whether or not it does, it should be fine as long as everyone using a controller is on equal footing. So if a controller player does get aim assist, every controller player should get it. If they don't, then no one should. At the very least, we should have cross progression across all platforms, which is basically crossplay for your stats and skins. So if I wanted to play on console for a change, I would be able to carry over the skins and levels for my PC account for free, with the same being said going from console to PC. If you play either COD or Overwatch on multiple platforms, you should already be aware of this concept. It would also be nice for last-gen users to carry over their skins from their last-gen consoles to either the next-gen consoles or their PC account so they can start playing Valorant without worrying about their in-game purchases being locked behind that last-gen console when they upgrade. Speaking of last-gen consoles, that's another concern I have with this port of Valorant. This one's a tough one because while I do understand that most console gamers are still playing on the PS4, Xbox One era of consoles, I do think trying to cater to that audience would mess with the overall development of the game. For starters, those consoles can only spit out 60 frames per second at most, which isn't bad for a casual experience, but for those that want to play this at a competitive level, they're going to be at a huge disadvantage. Even with PC out of the equation, the 120 FPS support on the new gen consoles is enough of an advantage that would make any player using it simply leagues above those that are stuck at a lower frame rate. I can only see two viable solutions. One is to make the last gen consoles its own isolated isolated ecosystem, meaning that crossplay and any support for those editions of Valorant would be exclusive to both the PS4 and Xbox One. That, or just abandon the last gen consoles completely so you never have to worry about it at all. It is a bit harsh, but I do think the time of the PS4 and Xbox One is pretty much over. It would be best to focus on the newer gen consoles, as those are going to be around for much longer. And those seem to be the main concerns, but are there any concerns you may have with the console version of Valorant that wasn't discussed in this video? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe for more content, and I'll talk to you all later.